In this video, we'll talk about how to survive when you are losing. How do we deal with it when we find ourselves having a lost position? I was able to find this game of mine in a local rapid tournament. The records of the game was written in an old notebook. I play wide against a strong player whose rating is over 300 elo higher than mine. Obviously, I was in a lost position here. His rooks and bishop are more active, and he's got also this extra pawn. At this moment, he just played rook to a3, planning to capture my pawn on c3. I was also expecting him to play e5 at some point, because after f takes e5, then he's got this little tactic here with rook takes h2 check. And after the king captures the rook, this f3 rook becomes undefended. But in this game, he played this more straightforward move, a rook to a3, capturing or planning to capture this pawn on c3. Now, then what? I could actually play bishop to e2 or, bishop to b1 to put some protection on my c3 pawn. However, after I play those moves, what's next? My opponent could actually double his rooks on the a file, or perhaps play rook to c8 and still continue to put pressure on that c pawn. It's actually a weak pawn right there. Or he could move his b pawn at some point and create some progress. Well, with so many possibilities that my opponent may throw next at me, I started to lose hope. And suddenly, my inner hope came to life for some reasons. With few seconds ticking in both of our clocks, I started to realize, why not complicate the game and not afraid to lose? Well, I am already lost anyway. I started to consider a more active move, f5. Well, it's not the best move, honestly, but I was not looking for the best move. I was looking for the most practical move at the moment to open and complicate the position, leading to potential counterplays. I believe this will give higher probability for my opponent to commit mistakes. Now, with f5, my idea was actually to open the f file for my rook, right? After f5, if he captures the pawn with e takes f5, the e file becomes open for my other rook, and I could simply move my bishop and have this attack on this weak, isolated, weak d5 pawn. Now, if g takes f5, then I could consider a desperate move, bishop takes f5. And after e takes f5, rook e f1 gives me a good-looking, seemingly aggressive move, or aggressive counterplay of capturing the weak f5 pawn. If after f5 and rook takes c3, this is actually already weak, because after f takes e6 rather, the queen is attacked, right? And there's no square left for the queen to go to and still protect the c3 rook. So that's a bad move for black. How about queen takes c3, which actually what happened in the game. This allowed me to play f6 check. And then he goes king g8. Now, actually, I was crossing my fingers that he would play king to h7, right? Because after king to h7, that is, in fact, a blunder. Because after bishop takes g6, I have a discovered attack on the queen. And I will, win the game instantly. But my opponent is so good, he played king g8, even low in time. So after queen takes c3, rook takes c3, I went rook a1, planning to play rook to the 8th rank, and he played king h7. After g4, he played rook c8. And then I got bishop takes g6 check, king takes g6, and rook takes c3. And boom, I was instantly winning the game. And in fact, after a few moves, my opponent resigned. So, what are some things I was able to, learn being in worse positions like this? In a nutshell, it's all about not giving up. Here's what to put in mind. Don't resign too early. Don't resign till it's checkmate. Defend like hell. Defend like your life depends on it. And also delve into potential counterplay. Always on the look for potential counterplays and, opportunity for you to fight back and punch back. Who knows? Might be able to defeat your opponent with a single punch. Okay, on the practical side, how am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to give you 3 tips you must try to make when put in an unfavorable position. Number 1, make your pieces active. The moment you realize your position is lost and hope seems to be gone, don't throw the towel yet. Do not make yourself look like a sitting duck waiting for the opponent's final blow, unless you already have king left against many soldiers. Now, one effective way to do this is to open the position for the rooks and bishops, or depending on your position. Let's go back to my game. As mentioned earlier, the move f5 is not the best move here. In fact, the computer wants me to play bishop to b5 or bishop to e2. But I was not looking to, uh, for the best move in this, I was low on time and the position is crucial. So I was looking to open the position or open the diagonals and files for my rooks. Now, after queen takes c3, which actually happened in the game as mentioned earlier, I was able to grab an opportunity to play a powerful move, f6. Now, to be honest, I was fantasizing some counterplays after this move. Now, and after king g8, queen takes c3, rook takes c3, rook a1, and then he played king h7. After g4, I started to feel a little more ease that I'm actually fighting. And the rest is history. I was able to snatch the game away from my opponent. Number 2, make tactics. When playing in tournaments, one of the most important items in my preparations is getting my mind used to tactics. So I usually solve some tactics few days or hours before the games. May it be the most basic ones or the most advanced. Regardless, we need to train our minds to spot tactical patterns. In losing positions, hidden resources in the form of tactics will mean life and death, so to speak. Sometimes we need to take risks and play tactics to activate our position. This is where we complicate the game with high risks. Don't be afraid to lose. Well, anyway, we're already lost. In this game, black shows, being down 2 pawns here. White's got 5 pawns against black's only 3. Also, although black has the bishop pair, it doesn't help much as white's pieces are very much active. In this game, black played rook d7, trying to confront white's queen on the d file and solidify his control over that file. However, this move looks obvious as the bishop on d4 is kind of stuck or pinned because it can't move and the rook on d7 is still undefended. So white plays a rook to d1, trying to freeze this d4 bishop. Now black played bishop to c8, trying to provoke knight to f5 and protect the rook on d7. And white actually did play knight f5. However, all along, black was actually planning an instant tactical blow that will reverse the entire position. Can you find the best move for black? Well, congratulations if you saw the move bishop to g1. After this move, black threatens checkmate on h2. Now, it's either white prevents checkmate or, move his queen away to h3, which actually did to protect this h2 square, or he still lost with rook takes d1. And black did survive this position with what was once a losing one. And number 3, make practical moves. When finding yourself in a losing position, sometimes the best thing to do is not to find the best move. Instead, finding the most practical moves makes more sense. In this position, an amateur white player is down a full piece without compensation. The best move here, according to computer, is queen f4, and the plan is to capture the knight with bishop takes f6. But white played a more natural, practical, or fundamental move of putting one of his rooks to an open file with rook a to d1. This makes a lot of sense as it also prevents black's rook to d8, because the back rank is still weak for black. So next move is black brings his bishop back to b7. Still, this is a powerful diagonal here for the bishop. Then white played rook d3. White is trying to fight back by making a rook lift here and put some pressure on black's king side. Then black reacted the wrong way with queen to e2, trying to attack the rook on f1. Well, this is also related to our point number 2 by using tactics. Can you find the best move for black in this position? You can pause the video and try to find the winning move for black. Alright, congratulations if you found the move queen takes f6. Then you must be a certified technician if you found that. Because after g takes f6, happens next is forced checkmate. Rook g3 check, king h8, and after bishop takes f6, checkmate. Well, I hope you learned something from these tips. Remember, when playing chess, it's not always a walk in the park. Sometimes we're in favorable positions. Sometimes we're in a losing one. And when we do, don't forget to apply what we learned from this video.
Hey, check this video out to make sure that you get more important information to bring your chess to the next level.